In the first video in the series, we looked at theatre and how the relationship between audience and performer has changed over time. We explored how the audience moved from watching at a distance to being more involved in the experience itself. In the second video, we moved into the city. We looked at pervasive street games and how streets, parks, squares, and everyday public spaces could be transformed through rules, story, technology, and play. Both of these videos were really about agency. The idea that the audience is not just watching something, but has some kind of role within it. They move through it. They might make choices. They might affect the atmosphere, the route, or the way that the story is experienced. But now we arrive at a different kind of immersion, because with VR, AR, and mixed reality, the audience doesn't only move through a space, the space can begin to respond, defining this area of immersive work. For this video, we're looking at immersive work that uses real-time digital systems to place an audience inside or alongside a responsive world. This could mean a virtual reality headset, it could mean augmented reality through a phone, it could mean mixed reality using sensors, cameras, and spatial mapping. The key idea is not just that the work surrounds you, it is that the work can understand something about where you are, what you're doing, or how you are moving, and then adapt in response. This is why game engines matter here. A game engine, or something working in a similar way, allows artists to build worlds that can respond in real time. You are no longer simply watching a recorded image, you are inside a live system. A useful way to understand this is through sound. Binaural audio can be incredibly immersive. With headphones, a sound can appear to come from behind you, beside you, or even across the room. So I might speak into your right ear, then appear to move across to your left. But traditional binaural sound has a limitation. If you turn your head, the sound moves with you. It stays locked to the recording rather than the space around you. That can feel immersive, but is not fully spatial. In a real-time immersive environment, the sound can exist as an object in 3D space. For example, if a sound is positioned behind you, it remains fixed in that virtual space. As you turn around, the sound stays where it is, so it appears to move from behind you to in front of you. Your movement changes the relationship to it. That is a small difference, but it does explain a much bigger shift. Immersive technology is not only about surrounding the audience with content, it is about placing the audience inside a system where their body, their position, and attention matter. So at this point, it's probably worth defining the terms. Virtual reality, or VR, is the most enclosed version. The real world is replaced by a computer-generated one. You look around and the world you see is artificial. Augmented reality, or AR, keeps the real world visible, but adds digital content on top of it. A simple example would be Pokemon Go, where a digital creature appears through your phone camera as if it was standing in your local park. Mixed reality, or MR, goes a step further. It does not just place a digital object over the real world. It tries to understand the real environment. So digital objects can feel anchored within it. They might appear to sit on your table, move behind a sofa, or be occluded by a wall. XR, or extended reality, is often used as the umbrella term for all of these experiences. There is always some overlap in the terminology, and the industry does not always use these words consistently. But for this video, the basic distinction is simple. VR replaces the world, AR layers onto the world, MR tries to blend with the world, XR describes the wider field. The obvious question is, why not just watch a film? It's a fair question because a lot of VR work has struggled with this. Sometimes it feels like a film has simply been wrapped around your head. You look around, but your looking does not really matter. The medium is technically immersive, but experientially quite passive. This is where the difference between viewpoint and agency becomes important. A 360-degree video can give you a new viewpoint. You can turn your head and choose where to look. That can be quite powerful, but is still largely fixed. The world does not usually respond to your choices. A real-time VR or MR experience can go further. It can change as you move. It can place you at human scale inside impossible space. It can let you feel distance, height, threat, intimacy, or wonder in a physical way. This is where immersive technology begins to offer something distinct from film, theatre, or street games. It can create environments that would be impossible, dangerous, too expensive, or too too fragile to experience in real life. You can walk through the forest from a perspective of an animal. You could stand inside a disappearing ecosystem. You can experience memory as architecture. You can enter a world that does not physically exist. That does not automatically make it better, but it does make it different. A good example of this is the work of Marshmallow Laser Feast, an experimental collective known for combining art and technology across virtual, augmented, and mixed reality. Factory International describes them as a group specialising in immersive experiences, often using technology to explore the natural world. Their work often asks a simple but powerful question: what if technology can help us perceive the world differently? In projects such as In the Eyes of the Animal, viewers experience a forest through the sensory perspective of different creatures. It uses VR, 360 video, drone filming, laser scans, CT scans, spatial sound and vibration to create a journey through the forest, as if seen by a midge, a dragonfly, a frog, or even an owl. It's not just about showing you nature, it's about changing your position within it. You're not standing outside the ecosystem observing it like a documentary. You are invited to experience the world from a different sensory scale. The technology becomes a tool for empathy, but not the usual kind of empathy where you simply imagine another person's feelings. This is ecological empathy, a way of asking what it might mean to sense the world differently. This is where VR starts to become a really interesting artistic medium. Not when it imitates film, but when it changes the relationship between the viewer, the body, and the world. Another Marshmallow Laser Feast project, We Live in an Ocean of Air, pushes this further. The piece combines virtual reality, projections, and interaction to explore the invisible connections between humans and the plant world. The title itself gives away the central idea: we live in an ocean of air. We are constantly exchanging breath with the world around us, but we rarely perceive it. In traditional artwork, that idea might be explained through image, text, or film. In an immersive system, it becomes spatial. The invisible can be made visible around you. Breath, movement, and atmosphere can become part of the experience. Again, the point is not simply that the technology looks impressive. The point is it creates a different kind of relationship. You are placed inside a system of exchange. You yourself feel part of something that is normally too subtle, too slow, or too invisible to notice. This is one of the strongest uses of immersive technology, making hidden systems perceptible. Another major theme in VR has been empathy. This is where the medium has attracted both excitement and criticism. The excitement is easy to understand. VR can place you inside another environment, another body, or another perspective with an immediacy that other media struggle to match. It can make distant experiences feel physically present. But this is also where we need to be careful. VR does not magically make people more empathetic. It can create presence, but presence is not the same as understanding. Being placed inside a simulation does not mean you fully understand another person's life. So the best immersive work does not claim, now you know what this is like. Instead, it creates a frame for attention. It slows you down. It places you closer to something you might otherwise ignore. It gives you a different relationship to a subject. And that distinction matters. VR is not powerful because it perfectly recreates reality. It is powerful because it can create a felt encounter with something that might otherwise remain abstract. This is why VR, AR, and MR matter in the wider story of immersive experiences. Theatre gave us liveness. Pervasive games gave us movement through real space, but immersive digital systems give us responsiveness. They allow artists to create worlds that can be entered, explored, and sometimes changed. They also change the economics and distribution of immersive work. A theatre performance or street game usually needs a specific location, a live team, and a particular moment in time. VR can travel differently. A work can be installed in multiple venues, toured internationally, or experienced in different places at different times. That does not mean it becomes frictionless. VR still needs headset, support, space, maintenance, and careful facilitation. But it does allow artists elements of digital distribution with the event-like quality of a gallery, festival, or venue experience. This is why we see immersive work appearing in festivals, galleries, and dedicated programs. Venice Immersive, for example, exists as a section of the Venice Film Festival dedicated to immersive arts and media, with recent additions showing a wide range of XR works, including headset experiences as well as walkthrough installations. So VR and AR sit in a strange place. They are not quite cinema, not quite theatre, not quite games. They borrow from all of them, but they also create a new set of questions. What does it mean to be present inside a digital world? What kind of agency should the audience have? When does immersion deepen an idea, and when does it become a gimmick? This is the biggest challenge for VR and AR work. The technology can be impressive, but impressive is not the same thing as meaningful. A VR headset can make you feel present in space, but that does not mean the experience has emotional or artistic weight. A digital object can appear in your room, but that does not mean it matters. In the early excitement of VR, a lot of the work relied on novelty. The simple fact of being able to look around was enough. But as audiences become more familiar with the technology, that novelty fades. That raises the question, why does this need to be immersive? Why does the audience need to be inside it? Why should the world respond? If the answer is only because the technology allows it, then the work will probably not last. But if the answer is tied to the idea itself, if the immersion reveals something that could not be felt any other way, then the technology becomes meaningful. This might be why so much of the strongest work in this space seems to gather around two ideas: empathy and magic. Empathy because VR and MR can place us closer to other perspectives, other bodies, other scales, and other environments. Magic because these technologies can make impossible things feel present. They let us stand inside a memory, hold a digital object in a living room, walk through a vanished ecosystem, or see the invisible structure of the world around us. And maybe that is the real potential of the medium. Not to replace theatre, not to replace film, not to replace games, but to create encounters that shift our perception. The best immersive technology does not always show us something new. It changes where we feel we are standing in relation to it. In the first video, we looked at theatre and the changing relationship between audience and performer. In the second, we looked at pervasive street games and how the city could become playable. Now, with VR and AR and mixed reality, we see another shift. The world is not only staged, it is not only played, it can be simulated, layered, mapped, and made responsive. And that brings us back to agency. Because immersive technology is most powerful when it does not simply surround us with content, but gives us a role inside a system, a reason to move, a reason to look, a reason to care. That is when immersion becomes more than a headset. That is when it becomes an experience.